Sobuko is live on YouTube. Yes, that's right. ACM is live and on now.
When I woke up, I said yes. Finally, today is the day I have to get ready. Sobuko is live tonight at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm excited.
Tonight is an ACM world premiere. After returning from the Himalayan mountains 2 days ago, Sobuko the White brings answers to the single or many questions one asks oneself. Do I have a personality disorder if I change my mind or demeanor? Is dissociation a wrong, and is it a mental illness or personality disorder? He is on his way to you. From the farthest reaches of the self-betterment realm, Sobuko the White.
Yes, we're back. Ooh, this is a cool studio. Man. Welcome. The Himalayas were cold. The Yetis were awesome. I met this one Yeti from Colorado. Awesome guy. Huge monster. Huge. Big, furry. Just so smart. So good. So good with transition and Yeti ninja skills. It was amazing. Yet, a plethora of knowledge to be gained upon and sucked upon. Because why? Self-betterment, mental health, physical health, and a cool studio. Thanks to the producers. Thank you. Thank you. I was told you were fired. Yeah, go. Yeah, the other guy said you were fired. Go, not the place. Talk to the other guy. Ah, problem solved. Now, welcome to the grand studio of Sobuko the White. Email sobuko@protonmail.com. Any questions? Any topics? Especially what we're going to talk about tonight. Dissociation, dissociation. 2 words, enunciation, correct, incorrect, and multitudes of understandings, and borderline personality disorder. Does it mean you're abnormal? No, does not. Dissociation. Let's cover the basics of understanding for mental health. It's the number one thing. You can't do anything if your brain, self, emotions, feelings, the world aren't tethered together, kind of like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Yes, it all works well together, unless it's bad peanut butter. And choosy mothers do not choose Jif. Trust Sobuko on that. Dissociation, including depersonalization. That means self. One's own self. Depersonalization, the feeling of detached from yourself, not in the moment, not you. We're not talking about a bad day. We're not talking about you didn't win the lottery because you chose the wrong number. We're talking about simple self-being, self-aware, not a computer, not a self-aware artificial intelligence, but you, the human being, the one that creates the artificial, the separation of you. This includes detached feelings and association from the world. Dissociation. Everyone dissociates from something, whether you want to intermingle, whether you feel the gathering, you feel the vibe, you feel the love, you feel that's the cool guy, that's the cool girl. Let's suck them in and make this a good time. Or are you feeling that detachment, sociological burden of no one wants me? Self-removal, self-dissociation. It's common with everyone, and it's also common with borderline personality disorder. That would be short acronym BPD. It's found in it, so don't trust the DSM series They changed. They left a lot out. A lot of good detail. Proven, argued. One. Yes, one. Bad book. Bad book. Now, let's carry on and progress further. Common symptoms, commonalities. The chat lines are open. If you have any questions of what we're covering on the show, please do, because this is self-betterment for you. The number one topic in the world. Everyone has that number one topic. Their self. Them, the interpersonal impacts. You. Interpersonal is just not how people see you. It's not how society sees you. It's how you see yourself. What is the vision in the mirror of you? Yes, the small and then the vision as it comes in, as you become self-aware of your greatness, your humanity, you belonging to a sociological organization, an impact on society, the betterment of you and how you are the player in the specific group, interpersonal impacts, dissociation and BTBBBPD, borderline personality disorder, can affect relationships, any relationships, friends, lovers, spouses, mothers, fathers, children's, the bad uncle that came over for Christmas last year and stole the silverware. Yep, that guy too. It leads to mistrust, rejection. Ooh, rejection sensitivity. There's rejection, then there's rejection sensitivity. You know when you're rejected, shot down like a kamikaze. Done, over, rejected, no goal, no points. So, rejection sensitivity is built from constant or continuous rejection. One does not want to participate in an atmospheric relationship, sociological event to where you yourself, interpersonal impacts, no, you're going to be rejected. Most definitely one of the most difficult emotions to deal with. Everyone has heard of the hoarder, the hobbit, the hermit, the one that does not want to go out, have sociological impacts, sociological influence, sociological development of their own for their own personal impact in society. The rejection turns into rejection sensitivity, emotional imbalance. Everyone has been rejected. I want to go buy that car. Credit's bad. Rejected. I want to go, can I be on this team? Oh, no, you're not on that team. Did I make that goal? No, you rejected. Regardless of whatever the rejection factor is, it has an emotional impact. Everyone has that emotional impact of rejection sensitivity. Fear. Fear it's going to happen again and break that emotional bond with yourself. Pain, suffrage, emotionally. Next. Trauma and dissociation. We're not talking about, I broke my finger. I got ran over hard by a 6-foot Yeti in Yeti basketball. No, we're not talking about that, let alone that 10-foot Yeti. We're talking about psychological trauma, which some would argue is the foundation of personality change, the acceptance, what one chooses to do based on trauma. Drive a car, bad car wreck, or you really wanted to get back in the car again, or was there a little hesitation, especially if you were in the car and not the driver during the incident of the car wreck? You're not going to trust someone. Rejection of safety, rejection sensitivity. You no longer feel comfortable because of episodic memory trauma of an incident, trauma dissociation, especially juvenile, developmental phases, child, young teen, middle teen, older teen, young adult. These episodes of dissociation impact mental stability, total impact. It's significant in the development of BPD, very significant. And it is significant in simplicity explanations for dissociation. Why does one choose not to belong anymore? Why does one choose not to interact anymore? Trauma, a level of trauma subject to memory recall. The hippocampus, the limbic system, the filing cabinets of the brain that store trauma. Every time that file cabinet is open, trauma dissociation is going to be mentally argued. Does one want to presume that, hey, this is good for me? Or is one self aware? Rejection, not for me anymore. Traumatizing, thus dissociation. This is impactful in environment, relationship, conversations, argumental theory on validity of a traumatic event. Victims, victimology. Speaking with a victim of a traumatic event, trauma dissociation, memory recall, flawed, error, not with intent, but because of the emotional impact of the incident itself, while recalling specific memories and putting linguistic, verbal value to it without emotion. It's kind of like asking someone, write down what happened. Emotion. High likelihood trauma, memory recall of trauma, emotion is going to be involved in the wording of the script that the person is writing. Trauma dissociation, that lets you know unease, trauma, episodic memory recall. They're starting to dissociate from the moment of recalling that trauma to write it down on paper for you. Treatment identity, assessment identity, key points, key things to look for. Let's move on. Reduced emotional processing. Now, this doesn't mean mentally reduced, that someone is cognitively unaware, intelligence diminished. Dissociation in BPD. We're talking about BPD again. Oh my God. Personality balance or balanced personality or bipolar or bishift or personality defect or change can happen to anyone. You're not crazy. It's not a problem. Everyone does it. Everyone. Reduced emotions, the processing of the emotion. Impaired emotion processing. Is it anger or is it frustration? Is it really anger or is it fear for episodic memory recall and one having to relive that historical venue again in their mind because the limbic system, the filing campus, the hippocampus, the filing campus, filing drawers are being opened again. Vivid memory recall. Over time, time to develop memory recall and detail of the moment when it happened. Time is key. Think of a traumatic incident yourself in your life. Did you remember every moment of it, or did constant review of the incident clarify the picture? Make the screen more sharp. Give a vivid recount as time went by of what really happened. What in detail did you recall over time? Reduced emotion. It's the processing. Emotions are involved in episodic memory recall and trauma recall. Stressful situations are triggers. Stressful situations are triggers that enable memory recall of trauma and emotional impact of trauma in the moment during the memory recall. Emotions can change. One's happy, go lucky, witness an event across the hall, across the room, and it opens the hippocampus, the limbic system up, and now one remembers what happened to them in the past. Trauma. Emotions are now reduced. You go from a feeling of happiness and, ooh, the festival is good. Did you see it? You see the incident, and now emotion takes over because trauma is being recalled in your demeanor, your perception, your emotion, your inner self-awareness. Your feelings change and shift. The snap of a finger, the drop of a pen. The slap of a Yeti on a hillside because you did something wrong. Not comfortable. Next, dissociative disorder. Dissociation identity disorder, also known as DID. Is it a mental disorder? Is it a disease? Is it a breakdown of one intercycled in one's brain? Cognitive, assessment, resilience, choice theory, developmental theory, affecting choice theory because of trauma? Let's cover this just for you. Keep in mind the chat lines are open. If you have anything to put out there, put it out there. Dissociation, DID. Formerly in the past, it was known as multiple personality disorder. But thanks to the geniuses that write the books, it was shifted to the side to make it easier for those to assess, identify, and then diagnose treatment. Yeah, assess, diagnose treatment. Diagnose treatment, which means they're going to diagnose a system of medications, and hopefully the pill gods will fix it for you. Behavioral training, behavioral treatment, medical treatment. Multiple personality disorder, mind you, was changed in that fantastic book, the DSM. Yep, read it for yourselves. Get the old one, get the new one. If you're going to watch one, watch the other. If you're going to read one, read the other. See the differences. Now, DID, characterized by the presence of two or more distinct personalities, as past known for multiple personality disorders. Now, do we have different personalities? Of course we do. All of us do. Let's go to the soccer game. It's not soccer, it's football. That's the real football. If you want to watch the NFL, that's padded touch football. That is not football. There's a pitch, not a football field. It's called a pitch. Yes. Dissociation. Now we've changed identities based on rational choice theory and self-awareness of identity, where one is located, one's preference, what one prefers. DID. Your identity has now changed during a specific rationalized conversation about a specific game. Now you've become more intense because it's not your view. You've dissociated from the other side's view. Now you've changed. In layman terms in societies, you flipped. Your switch has moved. Good guy, not so good guy. Good girl, not so good girl, based on the topic, based on the understanding, based on the presentation of the argument, the speech, the rhetoric. Everyone dissociates and everyone changes that identity at a specific moment with emotion, episodic memory recall. Episodic memory recall does not just have to occur or happen based on trauma. Episodic memory recall. You sucked at math. Now you've got a math test or a math exam coming up. But you know in the past you sucked. So, episodic memory recall. Your identity has now changed. Now you have an identity disorder because now you're in fear. You're hesitant. Your emotions. Your breath's out of control. You become stressed out because of a freaking math test that you sucked at before, but you didn't get ready for. So obviously, no, you suck now because you did not prepare for this. Preparation, identity shift. Simple things to think about. More distinct identities or personalities state that, the simple recurrence or the ability to take control of a behavior is not constant. It's not a continuum. There are triggers, emotion change, personality change. Why one will not go into a specific restaurant? Because the food is fake food. Why one will go eat a chicken egg from a farm versus one will not because of the doo-doo on the egg, but one will go to the grocery store and dissociate from the real egg and go eat the bleached out egg that's sold in your local grocery store. Congratulations, you're eating chemical case. You chose to dissociate. Why? Episodic memory recall. You saw the doo-doo on the egg. Humans don't eat doo-doo. Want to bet? You've eaten in that restaurant. Roach legs, rat, mice, mouse urine, rat urine, insect feces, allowed by the Department of Health, so many parts per billion, and the food sprinkled in like fairy and angel dust. It's good for the fairies and good for the ferrets. Why not you? But you don't eat that. Yes, you do. Distinct identities, the separation. Once you find out something, it's episodic memory challenge, emotion change, behavioral change, choice theory, rationalization. One can go to the extreme of pleasant to highly irate and irritable. The drop of a hat. We've all seen this in fantastic videos. Watch this sociological change. Everybody's happy, then somebody shows up and everything turns into chaos. Everyone's been in that argumentative state with a group of people, then things die down, and one shows up, shifts and changes. They were happy, found out an argument happened, a discussion that they didn't agree, and then boom, there it is. Mentally, a complete switch, A to B. DID, a new personality. Oh, Bob is not usually like that. That's not like Bob. That's out of character for Bob. I've never seen Bob to do that before. No, there's no way anybody could say Bob did that and me believe them. Bob would never do that. Bob did that. It's kind of like, hold my beer, watch this. Bob did that. A shift, a change. Let's move on. Distinct identities now. Distinct identities, states, sometimes referred to that alter you, kind of like Bob. The alter shift, one to another. The good, the bad, the ugly. Not referring to physically, but the good, the bad, the mentally, the verbally ugly. We've seen those people before. They exist in society. They exist in your homes. They exist in your family. They exist in your workplace. They exist everywhere. It's like cockroaches of alternative figurements floating around in the room. It's like catching smoke too until the smoke is triggered. Then you see the smoke. Where there's smoke, there's fire. There's always an alter. And each has their own unique. Now, if you're looking at the true mental DID, and we're not talking about a movie to where superheroes are real, we're talking about real life. Now, taking the movie, can that exist? Yes, it can. There's a deeper imbalance in brain, deeper symbiotic imbalance, mediological, that would induce the unique alter change. And we're talking about extreme change. We're not talking about episode recall. We're not talking about self-awareness. We're talking about the true imbalance of mediological brain interpretation and the triggers that would shift and alter. The brain recognizes that as a real living human being that is an alter, not pissed off Bob that would have did that because he asked someone to hold his beer. We're talking about real mediological imbalance. Real mediological imbalance for alternate personality would sometimes include unique name differences, age, gender, even physical character descriptors. Now, everyone has that alter. Doesn't matter who you are. Everyone does. Well, I'm going to go out tonight. Well, what did you do today? I was at work. What were you doing at work? I was collecting garbage and picking up dog feces and dead animals, and I smell like dog feces and dead animals. I also smell like the neighborhood garbage, but I'm going out to the club tonight. Yep, I'm going to step out. I'm going to get my... And then suddenly you realize, whew, I need a shower. Now you're going to go shower, get all dressed up, and now you're the alternate. It's the alternate you, the swanky good time, not the one that stinks. Simple alternates that we choose on a daily basis. Are you really upset that that person's in the hospital? Oh. Oof, I'm going to keep you in my thoughts. I hope you get well. Yeah, yeah. I'll see you. hmm You never go back. Did you really care, or were you just there so that everyone will see you be the respectful person with empathy, emotion, a good person in society? Moral all too, but actually, you really didn't care. You went there to be that alternate self so everyone would see what you really are not, and that you are internally recognizing yourself in that mirror of perception as it gets little bitty, and boom, here's the big one, you're fake. Everyone has the alternate. Do not be kidded by anyone. There's always a shift. Is that biometallogically a change, a shift? The brain works. The brain has to cognitively process this for one to do it. Yes. Now you're starting to figure out that maybe you do have identity problems, identity issues, self awareness issues. Why would that be? Let's move on. Because you're switching. Yeah, switching. We're not talking about just switching with the switch. We're talking about everything the identity changes, everything about you. The ID shift, dissociative disorder shift. These different identities take turns, separate switching episodes, and control the individual's behaviors and thoughts. Now, that can happen biometallogically with true mental illness, and it can happen with someone that does not have that biometallurgical or mental illness that has been assessed, identified, and is being treated or attempt to be treated. Let's put that realistically. Now, different controlling individual behaviors and or thoughts, often with little or no awareness to the identity and the shift and the change, but it's noticeable to society and those that know you. That's not like Bob. Bob would never do that. I can't believe you said that about Bob. No, not Bob. Maybe Chris, not Bob. No. But yet, the controls, the factors from the brain, the interpretations, and the actions, like the flip of a switch, lighting a match, the good old pull of a trigger, just happens. Just like what happens, hold my beer, Bob. It happens. The shift of behavior, the identities change, the switching. Switching can be a choice. Switching is a mediological choice for truly mental ill, and for cognitively aware, it is a choice also. It's always a choice. Bob was great. Bob went to the business meeting and Bob's going to get the contract. Yes, we're going to get money and bonuses. Oh, Bob did what? He showed up drunk. He cussed out the new client. He called his wife up. What? Now, Bob shifted. There's no way. Bob switched. Bob self switched. Bob saw success, but Bob let the success twinkle burn his eyes with fairy dust. Now Bob has changed. Now Bob's angry. Bob has failed. But yet Bob's self aware now. Ooh. He knows the dissociation that's about to happen, the rejection. Now he's making the choice, and now he's going to change and go on the defensive. I'm the victim. I'm the victim. A lot of, you know, individuals in society would commonly refer to that. Almost said returred. Refer to that as a narcissist. I'm the victim. Yes, you're the victim of yourself. Everyone understands that. It's kind of like a smoke screen. Just baiting the switch, the internal switch with intent. Sometimes thought of, and sometimes it's a spree of the moment. What is the opportunity for the switch? Everyone has experienced that. This is nothing new. It doesn't mean you're mentally insane. It doesn't mean you're the next Michael Myers or Halloween movie series. It's common. It's called human beings. It's called instability, dissociation. Everyone suffers from what the DSM-5 would consider a mental illness. Oh, did that just hurt your feelings? Should hurt not. It's common, something to be dissociative about. Happens to everyone. Next, memory gaps, like the trauma and the victimization, memory gaps. Now, everyone that has that DID conflict, that DID argument, that DID consistency, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's natural. Everyone knows it's natural. Bob was cool. Bob was a jerk. Bob was cool. Bob was a piece of different days, different Bob. Memory gaps. Individuals that experience that DID, dissociative disorder, that incident in the moment, often experience gaps in their memory, short term, mid term, long term. Why? Particularly regarding events that occurred when other identities were in control. Anyone know somebody that's really, really good when they're in their environment? It's their meat, it's their sausage, they're in charge. But you get them outside of that environment, and it's a totally different person. Reclusive, drawn back, no longer the life of the party, no longer the one everyone wants to hold on to and get close to and be with. No, not happening anymore because they are not in control. The DID's kicking in. Expressive, no longer expressive. You got rejected. Now suddenly the memory of you got rejected and the details of why you got rejected because you were a jerk. Now, an opportunity for you to present yourself and possibly be rejected again, as in the moment. Now you forget everything and someone else is in control. Now the memory gaps happen of what to do, what not to do. How do I keep from being rejected? How do I keep from crashing and burning? And how do I keep from alter ego shifting and becoming the person that I do not want to be because I want to be the life of the party. I want to be the one that everyone says, woo, he's here. That should be the emotion. Oh, they're here. Everybody's here. Yay, but it doesn't happen that way. Reality sets in. Memory and episode gaps. Why? Stress, triggers, stress of the moment. Does the brain work as fast as the individual DID interpreter you want the brain to work? Do you recall as fast as you want? Are the memory gaps permanent? No. Triggers will bring the memories back. What is the specific trigger of the trauma, the rejection, the dissociation, the individual choice, the rational choice theory to move, get out of the moment, shift, change, behavior, emotion? Memory gaps are common. They're not a fictional, false, theoretical argument that one can run from. Traumatic history and memory gaps. For the DID, the borderline or the dissociative identity borderline method, you're there, you're borderline, but you don't have the split personality of, hey, my name is Kaja, my name is Gugu, my name is Chocolate. We hate chocolate. Where's the caviar? That's the fish killer. Not like that. Multiple personalities. Single person one, but you choose. Trauma. The idea is strongly associated with historical venues of traumatic incidents, particularly during periods of your life to where interpretation of the incident of trauma is vague. Childhood, young teen, middle teen, even sometimes young adult, because you truly do not understand what happened, the severity of the incident, the long term effects, the short term effects, the traumatic effects, how one is going to have to cognitively, self aware, emotionally overcome the gaps, the turmoil of the triggers, the alternates. When that alternate is showing up, how do you overcome that alternate? Reminder, chat's open. Hit it up. Let's see what you've got about this dissociative disorder, this DID, this borderline, quite possibly true, accepted multiple personalities that one would have that one chooses to display at different time periods of their life. All of you have done this. Do not look in the mirror and lie to yourself and say, "No, Sobuko the White. I've been me every day of my life. I am me." Wrong. Someone out there in society will tell you when you completely shifted and when you became something that, I don't know, no one was used to seeing before. No one. No one was used to it. It was a shock. It was like Bob. Oh my goodness. Bob. Traumatic history recall. Interpretation time periods: juvenile, child, young teen, middle teen, older teen, young adult, sometimes severely older adult because of mental dilapidation and, yes, education, understanding, cognitive awareness of what's really going on and what's really happening. Now, we see this in media, social media, and the news all the time. It's bad. It's abuse. It's somebody's being picked on. This is happening. That's happening. No one really cares about what's going on with me. Well, dissociation. Or is it the inability to truly assess what is happening in the moment? Is it traumatic or is it not traumatic? Hmm, that's the kicker. Here's a big kicker: amnesia. DID, amnesia barriers. Now, we're not talking about you fell down and got a traumatic head injury, TBI, traumatic brain injury, as you trip over a rock going fishing with Bob while you were holding Bob's beer, but someone should have been holding your beer as you were sitting down. Aha. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about true mental retrospect of barriers that DID compasses and creates internally with your help. Individuals with DID often experience these amnesia barriers between these specific identities that we're going to talk about. Now, these identities meaning the individual that is suffering or having that amnesia barrier may not even be aware that there's a need to recall thoughts or open that hippocampus and limbic system drawer to recover those memories, be them traumatic or not. Feelings, actions, specific identities, because the moment is not the correct trigger for the memory. Now, everyone has remembered you lost that argument. The next day came. Oh, you're like, oh, that argument's gone. Later that afternoon, you thought of something. And if you would have thought of that the day before, when the memory recall barrier and amnesia barrier was affecting you during the argument yesterday, but now today, late in the afternoon, you remember the statement that would have given you victory, and now you want to get on the phone and call them and present that statement, that new lack of amnesia barrier, that episodic memory recall trauma, that limbic system drawer, that hippocampus drawer that you opened up, and you want to be, yeah, look at this, you lost, here it is. So you're going to have to make that choice. Are you going to flip the switch and change that identity based on an amnesia and or episodic memory recall barrier? Or are you going to be the social butterfly and let it go? Which one? The stinger bee, the killer hornet, or the butterfly? Sociological acceptance. Yeah, it's not worth it. Let it go. Because you yourself had an amnesia barrier. Episodic memory recall. You failed to do so, and now the trigger's here. Misconceptions, though. A lot of misconceptions about this. A lot. It's important to really truly understand that barriers are not the same as like a Hollywood drama movie, the style, depicted in a movie. I can't remember my name. Your name's Bob, dumbass. Oh, we're not talking about that. We're talking about trauma, something that is a true dissociation barrier because it is significant in one's life. It would aid in the amnesia barrier. Separate Hollywood and fiction from what you really would suffer in real life that would induce amnesia barriers at a DID level. Let's press on. Types of amnesia barriers. Now, let's shift here. Let me get to my super amnesias. Yes. Yeah. People with amnesia barriers typically, retain a sense of their own self, their own core identity. I know that's kind of hard to understand once you're suffering from DID or you see someone suffering from DID and they shift. They still understand their core, but their core is hard to find. And when I say core, I'm talking about the real person that they are. In simplistic terms, what one would actually say is what's the core? That would be the real one, the real person, who somebody really is, and not the complex, so to say, alter. That's not them. So, let's shift to the definitive three types so that we all truly can understand types of amnesia barriers, what we have to attend with and know. Anterograde. Anterograde, difficulty forming new memories with a specific point in time. This just recently happened. A lot of people would call this long term? No. Short term? Yes. New memories. Short term. Do you remember what just happened? No. Do you remember what I told you 15 minutes ago? No. Were you listening? No. Material grade. Short term. This does not mean one has a mental illness. This is not to say it's attention deficit disorder. It is dissociative disorder. It's not a bad thing. It's a self thing. Not that the target is not interested, not that the conversation is not interesting. One could be in one's own mind, but yet in the moment, but alternately, there's something else going on outside of being in the moment with another. Hard to understand, hard to interpret, and at times hard to identify. It's not a disrespectful thing. Everyone's done it. You can't say you haven't done it. Do you remember when I told you this? No. Did you forget this? No. Then the argument happens, the dissociation, because now it has been identified that you have an amnesia barrier or you were practicing an amnesia barrier because you were DID in yourself in the moment of the sharing of the information. Everyone has suffered from that. There's no lie you can make up or state or write on paper and argue against it. You're possibly looking at someone sitting next to you right now and they're nodding their head. Yeah, Sobuko's right. Remember when you did that last week, Bob? You did that this morning, Bob. I had to call you out because you weren't paying attention. You didn't hear the words that came out of my mouth. No, Bob had a DID moment. Is what it is. Don't get mad. Don't get angry. Hey, studio people, fix this thing. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't come all the way from the Himalayas to deal with this mic. Fix it. Why are you still here? Didn't that he fired? Who fired him? God. Whew, this place. Ooh. Episodic memory recall moment. You forgot you got fired? Anterior grade? That was like less than, what, a day or two ago? Gone? Yeah. Example. That guy. Now, let's move on. Retrograde. Retrograde. Difficulty remembering events that occur before a specific point in time. Now we're talking about before. An example would be a traumatic car wreck. What happened before the car wreck? Nobody remembers that. There was a flipping car wreck and the car was upside down and Bob and Betty were ejected out and hazmat had to all be called because insurance is so high and insurance is not there to protect you, like seatbelts to protect you. Insurance is high and seatbelts are there because hazmat cleanup on the highway for body parts is expensive. So now we have to remember all of this and why we had to wear a seatbelt, but yet people still got injured and body parts all over the highway. So we have a retrograde amnesia event. What happened before a specific event? Has anyone ever talked to someone and they just can't recall what triggered the event? What happened? What caused it? Hey, Bob, what caused the event? I don't know. Does Bob really know? Or does Bob have an amnesia barrier in the moment that you're speaking with Bob about a traumatic incident? Something to be concerned with. Oh my goodness, look at that. Bob can't remember something. Whew. Selective amnesia. Difficult to remember only certain aspects or details of events, often at a really serious traumatic event. Why? Suppression. Resilience. Do not bring the topic back up with me again, ever. Who's heard that before? A choice. One chooses not to remember. One chooses not to recall the instant of trauma, the moment. It's selective because of the causes and the triggers, and the cause and the trigger is creating the selective memory. Causes and triggers. Amnesia barriers, most commonly associated with severe trauma as select trauma, but there are differences. Developmental theory, childhood neglect, not knowing that it's neglect. Does a child understand what moral ought to, moral ought not is? Or is a child nurtured and taught by society, raised by wolves, raised by nature, the family, mother? Different sets of education level, different sets of developmental rational choice theory, developmental theory in sociological aspects, the family, community, religion, church, school, whatever it may be, organizations, groups. Now, what is the cause and the trigger of the DID disorder and the barrier of memory recall, often referred to as a simple amnesia barrier? Not that you've lost everything, you hit your head on that rock because you fell out of the boat. No, perfectly fine amnesia barriers. Traumatic. Now, we have to remember that these causes and triggers, one can experience that overwhelming ability to cope in the moment based on trauma. What was the trauma? How is it affecting you right now? What is the moment that you're in to where that amnesia barrier has been triggered and you choose? You choose not to remember because you do not want to remember the trauma because it affected you. It changed the course of your life, your actions, your thoughts, the way you interpret things, the way you visually see what is happening linguistically, kinesically, physically. Everything is shifted. Everything is anew now based on trauma. Your life experience has created multiple triggers that induce all three stages of amnesia barrier. Not that it's disturbing to understand this and learn this, because everyone has this. There's no shortage of this whatsoever in society. So let's move on, and it's all good because we're going to understand symptoms. Symptoms, memory gaps. DID, borderline personality disorder, dissociative disorder, dissociation, it all triggers on symptomatic identification. One is not mentally impaired if there are memory gaps. Now, why are memory gaps so critical? If you base it on the actions that one would perform and yet another that is witnessing one's actions, the one that is witnessing would cognitively assess mental illness not right. Is there a memory gap of moral alt to what they were taught that is right or wrong? Is it mediological? Is it trauma induced? Something that changed the personality and now there's an alternate? No one thinks of anything outside of themselves. That's a moral ought not. You hear it all the time. You should think about society. You should be part of society. You should be more forgiving, more interactive. You should see things as they really are. Oh, you're seeing things as they really are. You just really do not know how to interpret what you're seeing based on the level of knowledge that you have in your head about dissociation, DID, amnesia barriers, mental health development, processing, identification, assessment, treatment, long-term care effects, and long-term effects for reoccurrence. That's a lot to suck in. It's like drinking out of a Yeti filing cabinet of Yeti Mountain spring water from the Himalayas. I did that. That's not fun. Now, memory gaps, inability to recall specific time and events, period, or personal information. Now, we know time period, pre, short term, long term, or talking about a specific incident are the three tie ins for amnesia barriers, but symptoms and memory gap, personal information. What was your involvement? What did you do to trigger or light the fire or start the traumatic event? And one says, I don't know, I can't remember. It's a gamble, it's a dice toss. Is it choice or is the brain really not able to process the question and open the limbic system, hippocampus drawers, and pull out the file of trauma? And one can read, I induced the trauma because I did this, and the trauma I induced on myself. Memory gaps, personal information, personal identity, in the ability to recall it. Why? Because one dissociates from self harm. Another consideration that sociologically people drop the ball on. Not that you're trying to run from fault, not that you're a narcissist. Look at me, I'm the victim. Maybe with a little bit of patience and time and a little bit of correct wording and questioning, one could discover what the true memory gap is. It may be an ability, but that information can still be gained through process of identifying an investigation and tying in the gaps and the triggers to get the true answer. I know, it's not rocket science. You're not trying to go to the moon, send a signal from the moon to the Earth. Yeah, stratosphere. Yeah, here you go. Here's the video signal. Here's the flag. Oh, here's the cell phone. Here's G6. Yeah, okay. Let's get off of this. All right. Treatment. Yay, treatment. Treatment for confusion or disorientation or disoriented. Feelings of detachment. Treatment. Detachment. Disconnected from your thoughts, yourself, your emotion. Difficulty forming new memories that are long term. How do we treat that? How do we fix that? First, we've got to identify it, right? So, confusion, disoriented, disorientation. Hey, what's going on? You've been through this before, Bob. Have I? This bad? I don't know what to do. Everyone's heard that. I don't know what to do. Feeling unsure about one's past, that how it identifies them in the present moment. Past. Were you a jerk in the past? Does that make you a jerk right now? Barrier. DID. The shift. Dissociative from what you were, from what you did. Let's make a new alter ego and boom, here we are. But everybody knows Bob the jerk. Disorientation. What are you really seeking? What are you really trying to look for? You're confusing yourself. You're making this, disorientation happen. It's self-induced. Is it bad? No, it's normal. It's normal. Hate to break the news, it's normal. Nope, not me. I didn't do it. Yep. Lost the job. Why? Because I got high. Yep, I got high. Yep. Acceptance. Dissociative. Dissociation when you got fired. You're not gonna fire me. I'm not the bad guy. You can't prove I got high. You don't prove I got any weed on me. Then boom. Yep. Hey, why'd you get fired, Bob? Oh, I got high. Yep. The other day, Bob got fired because Bob admits today Bob got high. Now, dissociation, disorientation, you're creating that yourself. Feelings, detachment, feelings disconnected from others, not just yourself. Emotions, thoughts, every one of you have laid down in the bed and you couldn't shut that internal voice off. Victimization, trauma. How am I going to get through this? Oh, she dumped me. He dumped me. Oh my God, am I pretty? Am I? Oof, yes, I'm pretty. So, but everyone's gone through this before. It's nothing new. Detachment, emotion, the triggers, the difficulty of forming new solid memories and forming new solid memories that are troubling and enable trouble to recall events or learning new information. All of this is a big ball of wax that has to be formed correctly, identified and treated correctly. Confusion, feelings of detachment from oneself or society, or the ones that we're supposed to be attached to, difficulty forming new memories because you're having trouble and you're disoriented and you really can't recall what happened in the past. So, how are you going to form something new and build and go forward? Difficulties that are normal. What would the treatment for this be? One would ask. Who's asking that question? Put a chat in. Throw a thumb up if you're asking that question on what would the real treatment be here. Because some of the viewers may find this disturbing because they may listen to this and watch this and think, oh my God, he's right. That's me all in the mirror. Oh, yep, that's Bob. He's a narcissist. Everything Sobuko's saying, it's on point. That's Bob. Yeah, look in the mirror. Big mirror. Clean it. Wipe the toothpaste off. It works. Treatment. Barriers. DID. Typically involve therapy. Yeah, I know you hear the word therapy. Particularly trauma focused. What is the trigger? We've got to find it. We've got to identify it. It's kind of like I got stung. Well, how did you get stung? I don't know. What did you get stung by? A bee. Why did you get stung? I don't know. You obviously were somewhere near a bee and you pissed off the bee. Now, let's get to the trigger. Let's get to the real meat of the trauma in the therapy to identify and assess what is the trigger, what is the barrier pretext, and what is inducing and enabling the barriers. Now, we're talking about dissociative, personality, alternates, things that all of us do. So it's not like you're a rambling psychotic idiot on the highway that has 18 personalities. No, not one, not even five, you know. So, process traumatic memories. We've got to find that. We've got to treat that. We have to identify why you're not processing these memories, what these memories are. And sometimes, yes, it induces emotional damage because one has to remember and recall the incident in order to be able to structure all the triggers to know how to identify them and evade them in the future for mental health, mental well being. I know it's hard to accept. Yes. The casual links that we would have. The idea is understood as a coping mechanism, a developed response, and it's a developed response which is overwhelmingly associated with trauma, particularly during years of, one would say, adolescent incomprehension, dissociative, because one does not understand what is happening in the moment. That can be at any age. It's not limited because some of you know some people that are adults that aren't at that cognitive level that others are. Not a bad thing, personal opinion, but it happens. The casual link, age, gender, religion, society, culture, subculture, victimization, self-induced victimization for DID and or associated memory amnesia loss for the barriers that are broke or the development of triggers. So the question that you would ask, does that make me mentally handicapped? Am I incoherent at times because I dissociate from specific incidents, moments, people? events, moral all twos or all nots. No, it means you're perfectly normal. You've just got to assess it and change oneself. The path of self betterment. Yes, the path of self betterment that one must choose to take on their own. It can't be forced on you. The only thing that can be forced on you is the amount of trauma that causes DID, the sociological impact, because one chooses to be in the environment that they're in that distributes the trauma, that distributes the moral ought to, ought not, that distributes the causation and the trigger to not remember the trauma. It's like so much knowledge of self betterment that we could possibly improve ourselves without rambling on to someone and being given a dosage unit in the form of a round cylindrical object covered with plastic that's not good for you to take every day with water so that you could come back and think you're okay. As soon as you understand what is truly happening, more individual steps to move forward to self betterment. Think about it. Waking up every day.
It's a new day. It's your time to shine.
And then it's you. The new you, because you understand these things now. The casual links, the abuse, the neglect, the historical venue, the emotional change, even sexual abuse, physical abuse. Think domestic violence, yes. The fisticuffs, the guns, the knives, the psychological, the verbal, the control, the power. Yes, the power. Look at me, so much power. Woohoo, scary you. Identifying it, knowing what it is, and how to cope and adapt with it. Eliminate the trigger. Step away. Dissociation, the detachment from reality, is a key point in DID. Trauma, casual links. Yes, moving. Dissociate. Get away from it. Run from it. Hide from it. I don't want to be around it. You dissociate from it. You shift. You move. You become that alternate person. You know it's going to hurt. It's kind of like, I don't know, physical training. Anyone remember when they ran so much they thought they were going to puke and their thighs were going to blow up? But now you know you got to do it again and you really want to dissociate yourself because you know you're going to puke and your thighs are going to feel like they're going to blow up and you don't want to feel the pain. So now you're going to choose not to do it and just dissociate away from it. Nope, I don't want to do it. I quit. I don't want to be on the team. Yeah, you did it. You dissociated from it. Trauma, memory recall. You created that alternate. Yep, I'm in the game, guys. Choose me. Choose me. Choose me. Yeah, thumbs up. I'm the dude. Then you find out you got to do all this work, and it's not. You're done. Time out. You're out of the game now. Yep. Because you didn't want to put forth the effort because you dissociated from the past, the trauma. Not worth it to you. Nowhere near. Nowhere. Ooh, so much, so much. Let's close out with this one little thing that's always going to make people think. Identity fragmentation. Yes, there's so many aspects to talk about. Distinct personalities, shifting control, trauma processing, psychotherapy, and phased approaches and therapeutic treatment and approaches, co-concurrent, severity of the impact of the incident for trauma on DID, and there's so much to talk about. But identity fragmentation comes first. Yes, comes first. DID, the individual sees self-fragmentation into distinct personality states, which is in its own memory, and it creates its own behavior and its own perception. You remember the bad, but you don't want to go through the bad, so you change into that alternate. Nope, don't want to do it anymore. Can't do it. Gotta go. See ya. Bye bye. Or you accept it and you deal with it and you persevere with resilience and fight through it again. Now, we're not talking about like bodily harm or, emotional trauma, some type of abuse. We're talking about the episodic memory recall that would make you think twice. Do I really want to do this? I was this way 5 minutes ago. Now I'm going to choose to be this way now, and I don't want to feel with it. So I'm going to self-fragment my own self. Distinct personal areas, distinct personal times of self, the state of you in the moment. Everyone remembered you wanted to go to the concert. It was so great. Ooh, Ghost is coming to town. Yay! Then you got there and you saw all the people. And then suddenly you remembered the last time you were in an environment with all those people, a fight broke out and you almost got trampled. Now you don't want to go into the concert that you just paid a butt ton of money for tickets on, and everybody's mad at you because you drove. I'm not going in there. Oh, you're a chicken butt. You're a coward. It's not going to happen again. It's not going to happen. You didn't get hurt that time. This is not going to happen. It's Ghost, man. It's not a trample stampede where you get locked at the door. These guys have, they got a lot of money. It's a good. I'm not going. No. Identity fragmentation. You're solid. You're on your ground. You have shifted the fragmentation to trigger the state of you in the moment. That's really not you. It's a fragment of you. Because you really want to go in to see Ghost play. But you can't. Because episodic trauma or recall, the memories, change the behaviors, the perception of the moment of now. You go in, it's going to happen again. Remember, everyone dissociates. Everyone has episodic memory recall. It's not nothing new. Everyone. Not everyone has the ability to cope with it, unfortunately, but we can help each other cope with it by knowing how to identify it. Tolerance, talk, the conversation, not the you shoulda, you ought to, if I were you. That doesn't work. Self-identifying what DID, behavioral dissociation is the first step. One must understand who and what they truly are in the moment of trauma to where identity shifts, barriers are created, triggers are formed and developed. Treatment approaches. That's key differences, the treatment and the approach on what we spoke about tonight. We identify how do we advance forward for the mental betterment of the one with DID, possibly multiple personality disorder, according to what an assessment would be from a practitioner that self-validates. I can find your multiple personalities. Let me make them come out. Well, crap, McDonald's can make that happen because you got the wrong order. Good grief. Happens every time you're in a good mood. Bad food came out. Wasn't what you ordered. And the waitress, yeah, you did. No, I didn't. You motherfucker, son of a. Yeah, it happens. Boom, there it goes. No tip. You were in a good mood 20 minutes ago. Now you're angry leaving and there's no tip. And your food, according to you, was crap. Yep, you did it. You split like a light switch. It's not unusual. It's not mental illness. It's normal. It's human instinct. It's what's common. So, based on tonight's conversation with me, Sobuko the White, if you have any questions about DID, dissociation, mental aspect, email it. We'll get to the bottom of it. And always remember, hit the like, hit the, subscribe. You don't have to. But, if you want to get notified on these cool ones, like me, Sobuko the White, hit the notification. All those other guys, whatever. But they don't get to do the cool stuff I do. Yeah. Why are you still here? Rejection. I've got it. That guy's still here. So, hit the like, send me an email. Outside of this and this time we've spent together tonight, all of you, the masses, everyone, yeah, whatever, including you too. Have a good night. Remember, self-betterment starts with you, and it starts here. You can't fix the body until the brain and the mind are working together. It's a symbiotic circle of you. Nothing new. From Sobuko the White, self-betterment is you and only you.